Hey guys, welcome to another voiceover. My name is Sakami-chan, and for this term's voiceover, I will be doing a summary, more this time a frontal pinup, and I have this idea of the get out of pool concept. It's been done many times before, but I haven't done it, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it this time for this voiceover. So as you can see, I already prepped the background. Alright, got actually quite a lot to do for the background. These are some of the photo I collected that I think fits my concept, and I plan to paint over it at some point. However, it's good to kind of have it as some sort of a placeholder so that we can paint the lighting to fit the background. And I already cut the character into separate layers. So I'm gonna paint older version of Hilda coming out of a swimming pool because I haven't done that before and I thought it would be a good idea. Alright, let's get started. So I made my canvas a little bigger because the size was a bit too small, so now it's good. Alright, so this time I pretty much merged the sketch down to the to each layer. So what I'll do, I'm gonna go into multiply and quickly fill in some of the basic colors. Oh, I guess I grab her real quick. Really, I just need this part, the top reference of her. Alrighty, so as for the lighting, I'm gonna start, so let's do kind of a, let's do like, let's flip it. Let's start by doing like a strong lighting down below. So let's see, what I'll do is start with the base. I'm going to darken, go down here. Let's do that to the legs. I might play around with the lighting a bit. I suppose this will be also shadow. And get her head going. Actually, not sure if I wanted to make it white. I was thinking of doing like a transparent hat look. But I don't know. We'll just go with that and see how that looks after. Go ahead and render out the rest of the hair, head. I'm just gonna go do a pretty rough, add a bit of highlight. And as for the leg, let's add some intense lighting on the side of the leg. And let's go ahead and do a real quick bikini block in. Get a bit of shadow on that side. And let's go ahead and start shading it a little. Let me add a bit of warm tone here. Let's go ahead and blur them together using the airbrush. Hopefully I'll get this right. I'm gonna use the lasso tool to help me here. Let's do some very quick shading down the arm. So I'm not going to be too picky on how the anatomy looks right now. I can kind of slowly play around with it. I'm just going to try my best to get a quick base going. Add a bit of highlight down here. Let's go ahead, add a bit of rim light, blue rim light down. I'm gonna go into multiply and just gonna darken the side softly. Take a tiny bit of warm tone and I'm going to highlight it on this side, on the armpit area. Let's go ahead, add a tiny bit of highlight around this area of the shadow. Let's go ahead and add a bit of environmental color. Let's go for more of a blue. Bit of environmental color. Let me go ahead, start accentuating and fixing the shadow. So let's get a bit of tendon action going. Here, add a bit of rim light underneath the clavicle. Bring back some of the harsh shadow with the lasso tool. Let me just go ahead and render out the clavicle a bit more. And I think I'm gonna have to fix it a bit while I'm at it. Gonna do a bit of shadow for the armpit, I mean the shoulder. And I'm gonna slowly readjust her anatomy. Get a bit of the armpit going. Alrighty, it's getting there. Alright, let me accentuate the shadow a bit more, make it nice and sharp. And then take a bit more of the warmer tone. Just going to use it to make the skin tone just that bit warmer. And let's push back on that shadow for the shoulder. Add a bit more warmer tone towards the top of the shoulder. Let me go ahead and highlight this armpit. Add some slight variation of pink under there. Going to add that same pinkier shadow tone around the chest. Let's re-add the bikini string. And I'm gonna try to make it have a nice amount of hold. Let's go ahead and add a bit more of the warmer tone. Add the shadow. I'm gonna try a few different renderings. So let's see how it would look if I did another version like this. Bring in the shadow for this chest. Add a bit of pinkier highlight and fill that in. Go on to this side. Maybe I'll fill this in. I'll fill this side in a bit more. delete. Clean that up and extend this down a bit. And let's do a bit of bikini texture, so darken underneath a bit more. Bring this down. Alright, onto this side. So this is kind of a slightly different rendering. Trying to get that nice squeeze look. So the shadow, I made it a little closer to each other between each breast. Probably work on the bikini a bit to make it look a little more detailed after. I'm just gonna use the blue here. Let's go ahead to add the line. Clean it up. Gonna use my lasso tool again. Just going to blend this out. And I'm gonna see if I can stick this a little closer to the other breast. Then let's use a darker color. Darker color to put the line. And okay, now I'm just gonna zoom in a bit for a bit more detail. Add that high contrast line. Keep working on it. It's still looking a little bit off. Not completely the way I want it, especially this line right here. So I'm going to extend this a bit. Let's go ahead and shade it a little bit differently. Add a bit of highlight in between here. Oh, hold on. Let's do this. Invert, bring up the shadow and twist it over. Let's go ahead and gonna gently do the shadow this time. Even so, I think it still needs work, so let's go ahead and keep working at it. I'm going to line the armpit. Gonna clean it up. So this is what we have. So by doing this shading, it kind of loses a bit of the contrast. So gotta slowly bring that back somehow. So before I can do that, I'm going to refine the clavicle a bit and slowly bring back the intense contrast. So let's go ahead, use the trusty lasso tool. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and make the rest of the character a little darker, like this, and have this area remain the same. And then let's go for like a warmer tone. Kind of, actually no. Maybe like this. And try to blend it together. More or less like this. Especially around the shoulder area. It needs a deeper tone. I'm gonna use a slightly more beigey, slightly beigier and slightly more orange tone around that area. Give her a nice, I don't think it's a tan. It's gonna come out not looking too tanned. But I think recently I've been liking kinda start off with a deeper skin tone and slightly work my way up to a lighter skin tone if the character is supposedly fair. Just kind of working from shadow to highlight. Guess a more simpler way of putting it. Alright, let me select the other side of the armpit and add the shadow. I think especially for a summary piece, I'm gonna try to see if it'll look better if I give the character more of a warmer skin tone. I'm just looking back and forth at the small preview and what I'm working on right now, just to kind of gauge where I'm at. I think for a summary piece, a warmer skin tone like this looks better, especially against the background. I'm going to go ahead and cut the arm here into its own separate piece. So hand. And I'm just gonna fill that in real fast. Add a bit of blue towards the bottom. Increase the intensity. Okay, now going back to, actually before I do that, I can kind of play around with the torso a bit. You know, I was gonna make her really busty. Just for that shock factor. And I was gonna make the hand over here on the bottom as well, but I'll do it later. Gonna bring up the shoulder a bit. Let's go to the bottom. Delete. So now the top is a little bit darker than the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and make the bottom sort of the same color scheme, make it a little darker. Let's go ahead and start. Add the belly button, shadow, and then the bikini, which I'm debating on whether to make it just kind of like a white or just keep it like a little, well, no, actually, should I make it blue? Okay, let me I think it'll look best white to match her top, and then I will kind of play around, see how it will look with blue later. Okay, add a bit of rim light. I'm gonna see if I should kind of make her hips a bit wider and bigger. Like that. Bring this up. And I don't think I need to redo the belly button a bit. Let me go ahead and do the ab line first. So if I put it there, I'm gonna put a bit of highlight down below here. And I'm going to do the belly. A bit of the hip impression. So at this point I kind of remove some of that strong shadow. I'm gonna go ahead and bring that back. I'm going to warp down here a bit more. And proceed to blend out the leg here. Alright, so that is roughly blended. It still needs quite a bit of work, but it's getting there. Welcome back, guys. So as you can see, did a bit more work, so I'll be going over roughly what I worked on. So I went ahead, did a bit of work on her face, tried to establish it, still kind of rough. Worked on the background a little bit, made it a little bit more refined. I did quite a bit of photo mashing here because painting pool texture is a little bit tricky for me. But basically, I just kind of grabbed a few textures here and there from different pool photos. And this is the result. And still with this, I'm not sure that I'm gonna stick with this, but for now, I'll go with it. And I also did like a basic hand blocking with basic hand blocking, a little bit of rendering on the torso and on the legs, just some a bit of editing, a bit of moving around, repositioning and stuff to get to this this result. So this is before, after. Oh my god. But yeah, actually I kind of dig this, but the problem with this is it feels a little empty on both sides, so that's why I end up with this. But you know what, I do kind of like it before. Why is it taking so long? Do like what I had before, but anyhow, let's move on, and we're gonna take it from here. Gonna create a new layer, and I'm gonna go ahead, now that I have my background a little bit, just a bit more refined, which means I can kind of paint with that in mind. I'm gonna start adding in some environmental color. So I'm going to start by I'm gonna start redoing some of the shadow here. So let's go ahead and extend the shadow over. Excuse me. Let's add a bit more shadow on this side, and then we're gonna get a nice little rim light towards the bottom. Gonna go for more of a blue tone. So we're going to try this on a separate layer. Just going to darken that side, and then let's add a bit of blue. take this color, gonna gradually blend this out. Let's go ahead and take the blue tone and bring it down. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of add that bluer tone throughout this side. And with that, I'm going to have to make the bikini a bit darker first. And then add a rim light underneath. Let me go ahead and zoom in here. My Photoshop is lagging slightly. But yes, let's add a tiny bit of highlight here. Use the lasso tool to help me with isolating certain area. Alright, so now time for this area. Use the lasso tool. Just gonna have it selected. On this side, now over here, I'm going to be putting a bit of the blue as well. We get that nice contrast between the lovely warm tone and the contrast of the cooler tone. Let's go ahead and gonna fill this in a bit more with the blue. And on the very edge of the arm, I'm gonna include a warm rim light. I'm gonna add a bit more of the blue tone. Just gonna make it a little darker. Continue adding the cool tone, and I'm going to top it off with a bit of warm tone as well. Go here. Gonna contour it with a warm shadow. And I'm just going to blend that in. I'm going to continue to add bit more highlight over here. On the neck part, go to the face, bring the same bluish tone up to the face as well. Add a tiny bit of warm tone for the shadow. And I'm going to also be adding it underneath the eyes, so we get the cool tone, excuse me, cool tone down below. And top it off with the red reflect, or the pink reflection coming off of the hat onto the face. So it will be similar to this. Might be a bit too pink. It should be okay. Merge down. Alright, let's continue our torso coloring. So I'll just keep blending some of these area in. Let's go ahead and blend this area in. I'm going to use the lasso tool, add a tiny bit more volume to the corner of her shoulder there. I'm gonna go ahead, select around there, blend it in. Let's go ahead, grab this. And on the other side of this, let's go ahead, grab a bit of highlight the side of the neck real quick. And I'm just going to clean up the shadow here, make it nice and sharp for now, at least for now, until we need to change that. Highlight the collarbone there. Collarbone on the other side too, highlight that. And now what I'll do is select the shoulder of the other side, and we'll do a quick little highlight on that shoulder. Just gonna blend that in, and let's go ahead and add the bluish tone on the other side as well. I'm gonna go over there, add another little highlight. Merge down, because I think this is the direction I want to take. I'm just going to zoom in here, do a little I want to make it a bit more blue in tone. Definitely need to be a bit more blue in tone. And I'm just gonna blend that in. And just clean that area up. Let's add a bit of highlight around this area. We'll just slowly render out the bikini. I'm gonna start rendering it out with seam and whatnot, and some fabric pulling near the string area. And I'm going to add a tiny bit of yellowish tone to balance out the blue. Let me go ahead and select that area and darken it. I'm gonna slowly blend this area out. Okay, let me go ahead and blend this area out. Let's add a bit of blue. Maybe it needs to be a little bit more blue. Bring the blue over. It's getting there. I'm kind of digging it. I just auto contrast it. Might seem like a lot of contrast. We're gonna slowly but surely work through this. So copy paste, just gonna brighten that area. This way I'm gonna get a nice little contrast. Let me flip this. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to size up one of the breasts because it's gonna be, might be a little uneven. Yep, this one needs to be a little bigger, or this one a little smaller. So what I'll do is I'll just go to liquefy, and just gonna bring this breast up a bit. Yeah, kind of like this. Let me go ahead, clean up the neck a bit. We'll go here. Alright, now back to here. So kind of want to render this out a bit, but let's go ahead onto the bottom and do the bottom. So for the bottom, we will have to have a lot of this color. I'm gonna start off by readjusting the lighting of her stomach to include more of the background color. Add a bit of what's it called, the crotch line. Let's add a bit of the blue in there. Take a bit of this color. We're gonna have some intense highlight on one side. Have it intense warm tone shadow on this side, and then slowly we're going to transition this leg with the cooler tone. Transition that like that, and then over here we're gonna get a nice contrast. Let me go ahead and grab this color. So this leg's gonna be catching some intense, bright, warm tone highlight. So this will act as a good contrast with the water environment and all. And let's go up here with a bit of warm tone, but mostly it'll be kind of like the cool tone. I might need to go in a bit closer to refine this area, but yeah, basically we get a little bit of a edit to the shading down here, transitioning it into the water by creating a nice gradient in shadow pattern from warm tone to cool tone. And I'm gonna have to go a bit closer to render this out. Let me go ahead, start with a little bit of it. Add some tiny bit of cool tone as I go along. The belly button is a bit too big. I'm gonna have to readjust that. Let's go into the color balance, and just gonna edit it a little bit. Alright, that should do. So now I'm definitely feeling it. It's getting there, the lighting I mean. So I'm just gonna keep this layer as it is. I'm gonna be working on it anyways. Now I will be on the hair, and I'm going to start. Let's go ahead and do like a really a bit more contrast, adding a bit more contrast. And I'm gonna be adding the cooler tone towards the bottom of the hair, and we're gonna give her some nice hair locks later. But yeah, just adding a bit of the cool tone in there. Merge down, because I'm good with that. Good with how that looks. And even on the so this is our hat. I kind of had an idea of her hat being semi-transparent, so I'm gonna try to do that a little later. Let's go here. Okay. Hold on. There we go. Don't forget to fill this in. It's a little translucent here. Merge down. I'm just going to use the airbrush to quickly add a bit of the cooler tone onto the hair. Just a bit in the shaded area. Let's go ahead and add that at the highlight. And now I'm going to flip it back again. Alright, so I flipped the image. Now I'm going to take my time with this. So first what I'll do is gonna grab this super warm tone and slowly bring it below. Take a bit more of this color. Alright, so now let me take this color from up there and use it as the bikini strap. And I'm gonna take a bit of this color right here, use it as a little bit of a light. Actually, it might not look too great. I'm gonna change it to a cooler tone. Like that. Might need to darken it a bit. I'm gonna go contour both sides. Over here, what I'll do is gonna blend that out. Actually, not this color, this color. Just going to blend this out with a warmer tone near the top, warmer and darker tone near the top. Let me go ahead and accentuate this a bit more. Go in here, let me refine the belly button a bit. Let's go ahead and do a little shadow under each side of the chest. And we'll take this color, we'll do some light ribcage impressions, but not too harshly, just a little bit. Just gonna blend that out with a bit of more of the skin tone. Blend, blend, blend. Okay, I'm gonna have to refine this area a bit more. Let me merge down and then auto contrast real quick. So this is what Adobe thinks. This is what Photoshop thinks is the best contrast, which needs work for sure. I'm gonna start out by lightening this part. Let's go ahead and incorporate more of the warmer tone. I'm going to start by blending this area in. Doing that. Let's take a bit more of the cool tone, highlight underneath. Extend this color onto the darker color, and gradually we're going to bring this up. Like that. Now onto this side, I'm just going to blend this out. I'm going to, let's see what I can do here. Extend this a bit, and going to add the watercolor a bit. So we're gonna have the leg partially submerged in water, like that. So I will be back. I'm gonna do a bit more rendering. I'll take you guys back for another bit. But yes, so we're gonna continue to refine, we're gonna continue to flip, and I will be showing you guys the results right after. But I'm digging it. It's coming along, and I do like the contrast between the warm tone and the coolness of the background. Alright guys, so I ended up not doing anything off camera, so this is the next day. I had a bit of a rest and ready to resume. I might do a bit of rendering off camera after this path. So let's get started. Shall we focus on the bottom half for now? I'm gonna try to get a bit more definition on her hip area and stuff. Alrighty. Gonna be using the trusty lasso tool to help me with rendering out this area. Let me go ahead and lasso that up, and we're just going to blend this out. Alright, time for this leg, so let me just extend this highlight down a bit more. Select underneath the bikini line. Let's do a little bit of blending between cool tone and a warm tone. And I'm gonna be blending in a bit on the sides too, using the airbrush. So it'll pretty much be sort of this technique throughout the bottom half. Just me trying to figure out kind of where to blend, how I'm gonna blend at the lighting and stuff, and depending on that, that's going to shape her pretty much. So And it'll be a lot of lasso tool action as well as I select the areas I want to blend out without going over that certain area. I'm gonna be cleaning up at the same time. Actually, I'm curious. I want to see how it would look if she had like more of a one of those high-rise bikinis, which just kind of accentuates the hips a bit more, I guess. Let me give that a try, see how that would look. Bring that up. Let me darken the bikini line a bit, add some highlight. And I'm gonna highlight the hip around this area. And from here, the hip is around this area. I'm just going to highlight that. Might be a little difficult. Let me darken this area. Actually, let me darken this part and we'll only have the highlight in the bottom half there. That way I think I can kind of have a different type of shading a bit. Let me increase the contrast. Let me go ahead and do the other side of the hip. Let's add some highlight here. Alright. Let's bring up the hip. And I'm just going to kind of extend the shading over a bit so I can get a nice highlight going for the leg. I'm just gonna use the lasso tool to help me keep this area clean. And now let's go ahead and take blue a bit of the blue highlight. I'm just going to pretty much highlight the, what's it called, the kneecap, or at least just gives a bit of impression of where it's at. I gotta still kind of keep in mind the overall gradient of the warm tone to cool tone. Let me go ahead and highlight that. And then I'm just going to clean that up. So let me merge down here, and still it is not done. So let me continue to refine a bit, as well as adding a bit of highlight at the top of the kneecap. And I'm gonna take this color, since we're using that already, and just going to extend it downward with that color. Alright, let's go here. I'm going to clean up this leg at the same time and do the kneecap on this leg as well. And don't think it'll be too bad, so I'm gonna use a darker color, and I'm just going to slightly highlight the joints of the knee. I'm not super well versed in this. I'm gonna add a bit of rosy color. Add a bit of pale color. And I'm gonna go ahead, select around the leg, and I'm just going to contour it. Just gonna make sure that it's nice and sharp. Just bring down the shading a bit. And with the bikini strap, I'm gonna take it a bit higher. Okay, so I did that to that bikini side, so do the same to the other side now. Now I'm gonna paint over it. Still keeping the hip where it is. So we're gonna have it here. And it's gonna slowly blend. Probably needs a bit more work blending out this area. Let me go ahead, put back the strap. Let's have a bit of highlight going on both sides of the bikini like this. Let's take this color. I'm going to use a bit of it towards each of the sides. Let me also take some of what I've got on the torso of the character and bring it down below too, so that eventually we'll get it to match bit by bit. Take a bit of that highlight color, bring it down here. I'm gonna locate the hip again. I'm trying to get the hip highlighted and stuff. Let's do this. And we'll have the hip highlighted. I'm trying to figure out where I can do that. Maybe I'll just have it like this. Have a bit of hip action around here. Not sure. But I do, okay. Merge down again. It's getting there. I'm gonna go to color balance and warm up kind of the general tone of this. Make it a little warmer. It was getting a bit gray tone, so I'm gonna go ahead and warm it up. Her skin is, well, I guess I'm going for a tanned look now. Alright guys, so I took some time and I finalized it a bit more. As you can see, it's a little cleaner. This is before, this is after. I think I will go with this for now. I'm sure we'll figure something out afterwards. I think that there's still some issues to work out, but for now I think it'll be okay. I'm just going to clean up some of this area. Alright, time to merge down. Oh, before I do that, let me bring up the bikini line. So before, after. I'm just looking at the before and after, and I think it looks better with the bikini line there. Let's do auto contrast, and nothing happens for the auto contrast. That's a good sign. I want to add a bit more blue into the piece. Add a bit towards the bottom of the area. Let's go ahead, take the highlight, and I'm just going to layer it on to the already highlighted area. I'm gonna take this color, make it a little paler. I'm trying to see if I can still create a bit of ab detail for her. Let me go ahead and trying to very subtly add a bit more of the blue using the airbrush. I'm gonna do so here, down here. I'm just going to add a bit of highlight towards the center of the leg, make it look a little shiny, juicy. Probably do the same here too. Just going to blend this out, gradient it out. I'm going to use the blue a bit more. I'm just going to highlight it. And gradually blend that out. Let's continue. Accentuate this area a bit more with the blue highlight. I'm going to make the strap just a bit thicker. And let's put some details. I'm gonna go ahead and align it at the seam. Let's go ahead and fill out the bikini. Kind of wanted to do like a white mesh texture afterwards as well, but I think what I'll have to do is more or less make the bikini stand out a bit more. So I'm going to make it a little brighter so it stands out against her skin. And I don't know if the skin will end up looking more tan than, you know, beigey type skin tone, or yeah. I wouldn't mind if it comes off a little bit more tanned. Okay, so now onto the torso part, which we're gonna work on here now. I'm just going to start cleaning up the chest area. I'm gonna work on this breast, this side first. While working on it, we will be also working on the bikini at the same time, and also cleaning it up too, using the lasso tool to help maintain the shape. I'm gonna do a little texture here. Also, let's do a little separation here. We're gonna draw a little hook here. Just getting down some additional detail for the clothing. The more small details such as hooks, seams, stuff like that that I can put down, the better, at least that's how I feel, the more realistic the clothing will look. So even if your character is kind of like unrealistic, at least the clothing is somewhat realistic. Or it's just nice to have little detail. So we shall continue to work on this. Alright guys, so I went ahead and I was looking for the texture that I described, like the white mesh part. Let's see if this will work. So I wanted to put it around here. Alright, so after placing it, I'm gonna go ahead and erase it, and okay, I mean, it's not the worst, but definitely did not meet my expectations. Maybe if I made it a bit smaller. Again, let's erase the sides. Alright, so let me see if I can work with this somehow. So let's go with that, and next I'm going to be painting over it. I guess if anything, this could just be like some sort of design. Hold on, I mean, looking at it in the small preview, actually looks like some sort of lace design. Alright, let's continue with blending this in. I want to maintain somewhat a sharp shading here. Just going to blend this in now. Oh, hold on, copy paste. I'm just going to blend these together. It's going to take a while because there's a particular way of blending it in without having to make it look too sharp or too overly soft. So I'm gonna be at this part for a while. I'm going to use a dark shade to make the shadow here a bit sharper. I'm going to go ahead and add a seam right here. Include the seam. Throughout the design here. I'm going to select the outer corner, have it blend out. And then I'm just going to refine this side. Add a bit of shadow around. I'm going to erase. Welcome back, guys. So, did a bit more work on her, mostly on the face. This actually took quite a bit, so I decided to refine the hat a little. I found some mesh texture. I wanted to do a bit of mesh, like a half mesh hat. This I need to refine a bit more, and the hair still needs to be worked on. But I decided to make the hair float a little bit to the side. Worked on the shoulder a bit, refining the torso in general. And I believe we left off at the bra strap, which I still have not rendered out, but I did render out the rest of the skin and whatnot. But let's go ahead and add the little hook. I don't think the bra is finished just yet. But yeah, I worked on the torso a bit more, added a little bit of the speckled texture for the skin. I'm just going to refine it a bit, and I will also be kind of rotating the character a bit so I can get a nice angle on this. So I was basically doing a lot of refining like this, just using the lasso tool from time to time to make sharp selections and blending out certain areas, and other times just using the airbrush or the sander round brush to refine different areas. You know what, I'm going to let's try to make the bikini a little bit glossy looking. So I'm gonna go and add a bit of contrast. I'm going to make sure to keep some of the areas a bit sharper. I mean, the shadow a bit sharper and darker, especially near the same points where there's the shadow is quite dark, where the skin tone is. I'm just gonna have the same type thing basically, and I'm gonna be adding a bit of skin tone onto the bra portion. I'm just going to add the highlight down below. Actually, I'm not all to be honest, I'm not all too thrilled about how the bra came out. I'm not super happy with it, so I might play around with it in terms of rendering it and stuff. Maybe I'll look for an actual reference for it. Hold on. Okay. Let's start off by making the bra a bit lighter. And let's add a bit of purple-ish tone. Let's blend that in. I'm just gonna blend out the bikini instead of adding texture for now. Gonna add some not bikini lines, but some pulling lines along the bikini separation of the mesh texture and the rest of the bikini. And basically just blend it out, and I'm gonna try to add a little seam here. Might not actually look that great. I'm gonna try it out. I think that doesn't look too bad. I'm going to blur this out. Bring this down. Select over it. Darken the selection. I'm going to make sure that it's clear. just adding some shadows from the mesh material onto the skin. I don't know, it's coming off kind of not how I imagined it. Let me go ahead and select this area. Before, after. Well, I suppose it's not the best. Maybe it has to do with the mesh. I'm going to remove it. It wasn't really doing much for the design. After removing it, I think I'll try this next. I'm just gonna try to make it slightly transparent up top and just go with it and just add a bit of little lace detailing. At the very top. Make it kind of cute looking. I think maybe this will look a little better. And maybe I could have a little transparent action going on below here, and then I'll have the mesh material down here. Let me give that a try. I'll zoom out real quick. I mean, it's not bad. Let me just go ahead and imply a bit of that mesh texture. Let's accentuate the seam. Gonna go into this pocket, darken that. I'm gonna go for more of a purplish dark tone around here. And have the more bluish tone underneath here. Before, after. Kind of. Maybe I can do a little half and half. It kind of looks like a honeycomb bikini. Maybe if I blend this part out. I'm gonna go through here, make it brighter. merge down, blend this part out. Maybe I need to add a bit of pink in the design or something so that it feels more whole. There's just something missing in the design. Well, at least that's how I feel about it. Maybe I'll have the edge be pink or something. I don't know. I'll make the edge pink and see how that looks. Darken. I'm gonna add it on the other side as well. And I'm gonna see how it would look if I had like ruffles. Nope. Keep it like that. Zoom in here. So this part is kind of boring, but I'm gonna be shading the seams, the pink seam. And the pink hook. Put a bit of shadow there. Add a bit of blue. Make sure that part is pink. I'm gonna have to make that part a little thicker. Take this pink and put it on the other side as well. And then this side as well. Let's go ahead and add the hook, the pink hook in. Okay. Well, this side is not as bad. Just gonna blend that part in. Let's have a bit of shadow near the very edge there. Some pulling lines there. I think that it does look a little better with the additional details. Let me line that side of the string. I'm just going to add a bit of highlight on that side. Take a bit of the pink highlight. I'm going to add a bit of shadow. drop down shadow of the seam on the side and the hook. And I'm going to add the shadow for the bikini strap similar to this side. Sharpen that up. Probably gonna add tiny bit of shadow here. Let's see. Actually, yeah, let me just merge that down. Gonna add a bit of impression for the nips. Pinpoint them because I have it on this side, so I'm gonna put it on the other side too. And I'm going to use this blue instead, or add a bit of this blue. Have a bit of a variety. And towards the upper area, include a bit of a beige, but over on this side it's not gonna be super noticeable. Let's do a bit more fabric pulling. Take this color, I'm gonna use it up here as well, make the strap look a bit sharper and all that. Same with here. I'm just trying to make the strap a bit cleaner. Before, after. Let me merge down, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the pink strap now. Delete, copy, and I'm gonna warp the chest over a bit, over the bikini a bit, so I can get that tight squeeze look. Add a bit of shadow near this area, do a few fold lines. Let's take the pink. Have it tight there. Add a bit of shadow. I'm just going to clean this area up a bit more. Delete. Delete. Actually, maybe I can cut it a bit more. Okay, cut it around here too. Let me... delete, delete. Okay. That took a while, but yeah, it takes a little bit more time to refine than to actually establish certain things. Might even work on it a bit more after. Let's move on to the hands for now. I got my reference on the side here. Alrighty. So I've already got the hands sketched out. Let's go ahead onto our hand layer first, and I'm going to start off with the highlight, and then underneath we're gonna have the rim light, which is the environmental color mostly, which is blue. Go to the hand layer, and I'm just going to start off with the thumb. Darken that up. Make it a little bigger. Let's go ahead and give her pink nails. So there's not much to say about this section because it's painting using reference. So since this is kind of a slightly different hand pose than what I usually paint, so therefore I don't really have much muscle memory from this type position, just using a reference. And over time, if I do this type of finger position often, then I'll be able to kind of have a bit of a visual library for how to paint this type of hand pose. I mean, this part is kind of I think I have enough experience painting this type of pose, but not the other one. I'm just going to kind of outline where the finger will be, basically. Alright guys, so I flipped the canvas so I can have a look from this side. Let's start off by using the lasso tool, and I'm gonna start by adding some soft shadow to each of the fingers. and also blending them in as well. So I'm not being too careful on kind of painting outside the line, so to speak. I can always clean that up using the lasso tool afterwards, like this. So I'm kind of doing a pretty rough job. So this is what I have so far for the fingers. Let me lock in the layer. Now I'm gonna go for a grayish color. I'm just going to shade kind of the center of each finger. Now I'm gonna add a bit of rosy color. Let's go ahead and add some shine to the nails. Now I'm going to highlight or not highlight, but contour the cuticle area. And I'm gonna use now the blue tone and highlight the outer edge of each finger with it. Like that. Highlight it a bit more and go back with the lasso tool, and I'm using a warmer color for the shadow. Yeah, hands are never really my strong suit, but yeah. And I'm gonna go ahead onto each finger and add a tiny bit of highlight to each of them. And go back to the nails and re-add color for the nails. Then going to add a bit of shine to the fingers, making them a bit wet looking. Let's go ahead and highlight the finger. And then blend it in by painting it in. I'm gonna use a lighter color, just gonna blend out the edge of each finger. So it's gonna be a bit of rendering going on. So I typically go back and forth, add highlight, add shadow, and then paint over it again and again until I get to a point where I am happy with it. Let's add a bit of rosy color here. But yeah, I will be right back and I will do the other hand as well, and we're gonna come back and render out another part of her, probably the hair. Even though I do have kind of, it's taken a while to flip, but even though I do have already a bit of rendering going on, it still needs quite a bit of work. So yeah, I will be right back with the rest of her. I need to clean up the or paint over these two thingies. What are they called? The metallic surfaces. Because it is a photo that I took, and I'm gonna have to paint over it to fit the background. But yeah, I will be right back, guys. Welcome back, guys. So for this portion of the voiceover, I'm gonna be focusing on the hair. Alright, I'm gonna actually, yeah, let's keep that in. So for the hair, I've already kind of done a quick base for it, or have a base already. So now it's just time for some of the smaller detail. And I'm gonna be adding some of the brighter color or highlight, and the contrast between the shadow and the highlight is I'm gonna make it a little bit more intense, because that's gonna create that wet hair look. So the more contrast we have usually just makes the hair a bit more shinier. So wanna try to get a bit of that, but we'll just see how it goes, because sometimes I overdo it. Let me put a bit of this, but I did work on the skin a bit more off camera, put a bit more of that speckled look onto the character. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to see if it works, but basically I'm gonna copy like a small section and just making it a little bit longer. So hopefully with this I want to create a layered look. Let me go ahead and add highlight. I mean not highlight, but blend the shadow in, and I might need to flip this because I want this to kind of like a one-off hair strand type deal, and not exactly following the same curvature of the other part of the hair. I just want to see if I can add some layering onto the hair. I wanted to make it have a little bit of a curl. And back to adding in the highlight. I think that looks just fine. Continue to do that. I'm going to take a bit of the skin tone. Add it to the bottom. So towards the end, what I'll be doing is I'll be kind of play around with the color of the skin tone. So right now it's quite orange, and not sure if I quite like it. I'm gonna try to make the skin tone go towards more of a beige or a bit more blue tone. But yes, I will be showing you guys how I will be playing around with the skin tone, and definitely recommend kind of experimenting with different color palettes while you're working on something, because you never know what looks better. And I think I've been working on this piece in the span of 2 or 3 days now. This is probably the 3rd day or the 2nd day. I can't remember. I work on multiple pieces at a time, so might be 2 or 3 However, it's pretty good to do that, so you know we don't get used to one piece, and it refreshes your mind, kind of. I find that useful, and oftentimes I find I get slightly better results this way, to take a break between each work session. But yeah, I'm just refining this part of the hair, making it nice and curly. Take a bit of this color. Okay, let me add a bit of negative spacing there. Let's take a bit of the highlight for that and see if we can incorporate it onto this side as well, although this side should be a little darker, at least because it's in the shadow, facing the shaded area compared to the other side. So I'm just gonna blend this out first, and then we'll move on to the next step. I'm going to imply a bit of the ear on this side here. Add some rim light. Around this area. Delete. Oh, hold on. I need to make sure it's nice and clean. Alright, let's pop on the hair layer. Oh, that reminds me, I should be putting a bit of pink tone on the hair highlight to show the pinkness of the hair reflecting on the hair, especially in this type of lighting where there's intense sunlighting. There's gonna be a lot of reflecting, and even if you know it's not the right setting or light setting, having a bit of the environmental color reflecting on different parts of the character is always a good little detail to have, especially when it comes to shading. It just makes the shading that bit more interesting. Also wanted to give her like a cute little curl, but might be, I don't know, might not fit. Let me erase bits of it so we don't get too bothered by it, and I suppose I'll have some hair just hanging more or less and make it a little more subtle. And after I do the very thin strand, I go in, do a little bit of highlight here and there throughout different parts of the hair to give a bit of that wet look. So I think we're all good for that section. Now let's move on to the back of the hair. So at this level, you know, you can call it there, but we can always go back to improve on it. Oh, actually, I can, because I'm kind of picky sometimes. And sometimes, you know, actually not too sure at what level I'm happy with, but sometimes I can go a little overboard with that. Let's go with that. Let's go to the hair on the back. Let's go ahead and take a color from the hair near the face, bring it on top, and we're gonna have the lighting very much focused on the top of the head. And I'm going to be refining this part a bit more, but as you can see, there's not, probably have to zoom in, but there isn't too much space for me to play around with unless I resize or move the character down a bit. Actually, let me see here. Can I? Okay, yes I can. Alright, I guess I shall do this. And you can kind of see like the the photo collage I have going on here. There we go. Alright, let's crop. It's gonna take a while. Alright, now that the crop is done, we can have a bit more space to work with. So I'll be spending a bit of time blending this in. So we're gonna do some short brush stroke blending for the hair to make it look nice and shiny near the top, and this is where most of the highlight, the lightest point of the hair for now. And this is, I think this is where layering comes in. So this is gonna be my base, and I'll be adding, oh, okay, whoops. Let me cut and put it on the proper layer. And this is gonna be my base for the hair, and I'm going to slowly stack on hair batches. Let me just make sure it's nice and has a nice flow. I'm gonna just do a basic cleanup for now, and I'm going to be adding in the blue tone of the background on the bottom half of each curl. Add that highlight there, and I guess we could have a bit of more of a brownish tone on this side. And hopefully it works out. I might have to change it up a bit, but usually I'll never really know unless I paint it out, and sometimes, you know, the color might not go with the vibe I'm going for. I'm trying to get the hair to look nice and curly and organic looking, but also with a nice where the hair is going in nicely in one direction, basically. And sometimes it just takes a bit more time to get it right. Like, we'll probably be moving things around a bit. Like, for example, this batch, I'll be removing that. Let me kind of slowly add I want to add some contrasting flow to the hair. I'm gonna use the lasso tool to help me, and moving on to the airbrush. So right now I just wanna try to get a feel of how I want the hair to flow. Maybe I can do a little curl here. No, that looks weird. Nope, 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 nope. Move it, maybe have it move down a bit. Add some shadow there. Let's see if I can do a little curl like this, or if hopefully that doesn't look weird, but I don't know. That might look weird. Let's do it like that, and let's see how this looks. Don't mind me, I'm just, ooh, maybe it looks better in this direction. But basically, I'm playing around with the hair form until I get the look that I'm going for. I want something curly, I want something flowy. Maybe this, I'm going to have to change the position probably. Let's move it up here. Let's move it up here and separate it a bit. Alright, let's do that and create another layer underneath, and we'll do like another string of hair going this way, and let's make it this color. Maybe it needs to be darker. And let's play around with the positioning of this hair. It kind of looks like poop. I don't know, it just looks like poop a little bit. I need to seriously fix it somehow. Let's try this. Let's try to make the under portion of the hair bright. Like this. Maybe we can get a nice little... maybe it'll look better. I'm gonna be using the lasso tool for this portion so that I can get somewhat of a nice motion going on. Okay, it's getting there. Still some work to be done, but it's getting there kind of, hopefully. Probably need to move this part. Let's move it here maybe. And we'll just do a little curl at the end here. And we'll do a little high contrast at the tip here. See how that looks? No, it's not doing it. Maybe I'll just bring this down a bit more. Keep it like that. Oh yeah, I think Hilda has like two little whiskers on top here for her hair. That's kind of if I add that in, maybe I'll look a bit more like her. Kind of looks like antennas. I'm going to do a little hair strand. And we'll have a bit of this show on the other side. And I'm just gonna continue that hair strand. Alright, I guess let's go with this and just refine it a bit more. So what I'll do is on the top of the hair, let's go ahead and make it a bit brighter. I'm gonna be using the lasso tool here, and I'll be painting some, what's it called, just some hairs, batches separation and stuff like that. This might be a bit too much, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. And I'm going to gradually separate some of the strands from this batch into smaller strands. I don't know, just anything really to somewhat improve the look of the hair, because I don't feel that it is what I'm looking for, so usually I just kind of work on it until I feel like it's getting to where I would like it. And I suppose it's more or less personal preference. It also could be overworked. You know, sometimes when you work on a piece for too long, you kind of lose sight of what looks good, or so to speak, because sometimes you tunnel vision a bit too much, you know, stuff like that. That happens to me quite a bit, and that's why I sometimes try to work on a piece like for multiple days. Therefore, that way I can kind of come back to it after I sleep, and sometimes that helps. But yeah, this is that phase. And let's flip the image and see what's up. Alrighty, so image flipped. This is what we have. Alright. So let's see what we can do here. So it is definitely not to my liking. Let me cut this part. maybe if we had more of a focus, big chunk of hair, like this. This is where the experimenting comes in. Let's go take, oh, hold on. Take that and we'll kind of do a little reshaping here. See, maybe this shape might look better. But I'm not sure. You know, maybe you guys like the other version better. I'm trying to get like a consolidated look. Like a clumpy hair look with most of the hair together. Maybe the hat might be a bit too high up. Let me bring down the hat. I need to redo the logo. But what I probably will do with the logo is just look for it online and just plop it on the hat. Okay, let me merge down. I'm trying to see like different ways of positioning the hair. Alright guys, let's see how it looks if we have it the other side. Oh, so this is with the hair on the other side, and I think you know what? Actually, it doesn't look all too bad on this side. Now the problem with that now is that the background, the floaty, might have to go here, and then the ball floaty probably need to go here. Just to balance the composition, because now the hair is kind of taking up space on that side. But not so sure. Okay, I think what I'll do also is I'm gonna take this and let's have the hair partially on the shoulder. I don't know, just wanted to experiment a little because maybe it'll look good. You never know. It actually looks kind of good on the shoulder. Let me thin this out. What I'll do is warp it a little bit over. Actually, I want a bit of the hair to be floaty over there. Oh my goodness, I'm doing that thing where you have a part of the hair like blowing towards one direction and the other part blowing the other way, like a conflict of interest hair. Maybe I'll just keep it there. And as for the hair, let's see. Okay, let me try have it on this side. What if I do like okay, let's have the hair on this side, and we'll have a bit of the hair gonna have it on the shoulder on the other side. And still we're going to have it over the shoulder, this shoulder. Alright, let's see how that looks. No, I'll need to make sure it's kind of thin like this. Since there's not a lot of there's not a lot of, at least for my standards, not a lot going on in this piece. I'm trying to find ways to make it interesting. So I'm trying to see if I can use the hair as, you know, something unique. Okay. That's not the worst. I'll make it a little higher. And I'll have this hair kind of floating a little. Let's have it. Do this. Okay. And I'm gonna take this right here, copy it, bring it down here and reuse it. Gotta put it behind. Actually, no, it's, oh my goodness. Okay, there's a lot that I need to clean up. Maybe I can just have the hair just be a bit shorter, like around here. And I'll clean it up too later. And as for this little hair strand, let's just have it float about like this. I'm just gonna warp it like maybe like here. Move the head a bit. Move the hair over a bit. Now I'm gonna bring back the floaty to the side and the ball floaty to the side. Alright. So I'm gonna be, I'll play around with the hair a bit and I'll bring you guys back once I'm sure that I like where it's going, and we shall continue. But basically it's gonna be a lot of what I did, kind of like moving around the hair parts and stuff until I'm happy with it. So I will be right back, guys. Welcome back, guys. So as you can see, I worked on the hair. Still a little rough in places, but it has been improved upon. I figured out where, well, roughly, at least this is the closest that I'm getting to what I kind of want. I even started adding a bit of the environmental color as well as a bit of rim light on the bottom. And I also went on each of the handles here and I painted over them. So for this, added a bit more pink and blue to match the piece in general. So that was kind of the color scheme that I was going for, it is still quite rough. So this is, I just kind of did it real quick with the color layer and just standard paint over with a lot of pink. I don't know, I guess I just wanted to see how much color I can push into this piece because it's already pretty colorful, so hey, might as well see how far I can take it. Also, in the background, I made this part pink to kind of, you know, take our eye from her hat to the end of the canvas there. So also made the water here a bit brighter so that her skin will stand out a bit more in general. And also I made the Pokemon icon sign in the water a little bit deeper. I need to work on this, make it a little bit more realistic looking. Right now it's just very rough. And yes, that's what I did off the camera. So now we shall continue. So I'm gonna continue on the hair. Create a new layer. I have a good amount of progress on the hair, I would say. But yes, I think I'm gonna be using the lasso tool a bit more now. Oh goodness, this actually kind of looks like a tube instead of hair. So I'm gonna have to try not to have that. Hold on. What I'll do is bring this up bring it up like this. And I'm going to be using a bit of the skin tone for rim light. Just going to add some hair strands coming from there. Take a bit of the highlight and I shall apply it. And just adding a bit of shine to the rest of the hair, just basically increasing the contrast, of course, between highlight and shadow in that area, just making it a bit shinier. Clean. Actually, maybe I'll take this and make it floaty, like towards this direction. So yes, we have the hair for there, and of course I'm going to name this group hair. I'm gonna put that on its own layer because I'm gonna be going on the skin and adding shadow, drop down shadow of the hair onto her torso here. Just trying to make things a bit more dynamic. Just do a little hook. Just gonna blur it out, but actually no, that looks like a mark or something. Trying to make this look a bit more like shadow. I'm just going to blur this part out with the smudge tool. There. Okay, now back to this part of the hair. I did go ahead and try to make it a little curlier. Like this. I'm just gonna select whatever color that I already have going on. Let's go ahead and do that. Just blending it in. Let me lock it down and add a bit more drop down shadow. On the very bottom of each hair strand and on the top we'll have the cool tone highlight, or not really a highlight, but definitely cool tone to contrast the hair with. And while I'm at it, I'm going to clean it up as much as I can. And I'm gonna try to see how would it look if I added some small bits of highlight. Just wow, it definitely makes it very, very shiny. I'm gonna try to see if I can kind of have a bit of that throughout. And here we'll have a bit of highlight in this area. Take this, add the highlight, clean that up, go here, and I'm going to increase the contrast. Well, let me select the whole hair. Like that, to make it a little bit more intense. Let's go here, grab this highlight and add it to this side. Let's see how I suppose I will leave it as it is. Alright, so that's that for that part of the hair. Back to the ponytail hair. Still kind of rough, so I'm gonna do a bit of rendering using the lasso tool to basically help me keep the area clean. And I'm going to create a new layer. I'm gonna be refining the smaller detail now. New layer before I merge down. I'm using the lasso tool to help me keep it clean. Basically, we'll be using this method throughout this piece, and it's a great way. Speeds things up for sure, and keeps it clean pretty much. But then again, if you tend to like a bit more painterly, messy feel, then this way might not be the best choice for that. Just going through and kind of making sure everything is nice and blended. I'm going to take a bit of the environmental color, bring it up here. And same with this, just going to blend some of these areas. And we're just going to blend this out. I'm gonna switch between the standard round brush and the airbrush for this, just to keep things cleanish. I'm going to take this highlight and just kind of adding it a little bit throughout. Let's add a tiny bit of highlight here too. I want to get that nice curl. Yes, accentuate the curl, essentially. Okay, now bring down the shadow. Okay, and I'm just kind of looking back and forth at the smaller preview. This part could use a bit of warmth. Take this, bring it down here into some of these areas, trying to get a bit of that translucent effect going for the hair. So we're gonna go from shadow to a bit of highlight. Sort of like the idea is sort of like when you put a flashlight behind your ear or finger and you kind of see like cool tone towards the center and warm tone, saturated warm tone, brighter tone towards the edge of whatever you shine light behind. So same, keeping kind of the same type of concept for the hair, more or less. Using the lasso tool on these parts. To help me keep things clean. I'm just going to clean this up. It's a little messy in that area, so clean that up. And I'm gonna take this color and we're gonna do a bit of that same concept for translucency around this area and around here. Okay. Somewhat like this. So it's a little bit more refined. I cleaned it up a little bit. Refined it, but also included texture as well. Let me go here. Highlight. Darken. Add a bit of blue around this area. And as for here, what I'll do is I wanna add like a little hair strand like this. Oh, wait, I don't know how I want to twist it. Maybe like this instead. And I'm gonna take the warm tone on the other side, cool tone on the opposite side, warm tone on the bottom. Something like that. Oh, okay. There. Just changing it slightly. Let's merge down everything, and this is what we have. Create a new layer, and this time I'm going to, once again, we're gonna do the same thing here, just a tiny bit of highlight throughout some of these areas, and I want to see how that looks. Trying to see, you know, if it's too much or not. I'm not sure. Add a little bit up here too. Could probably add some around here, and maybe just kind of a little bit throughout her hair. I can even minimize it slightly to make it a little less intense, and then we'll see if we can get away with this, but we're going to do kind of tiny hair strands, thin hair strands. It might be a bit too much, but I'm gonna try to see how this will look. And I'm gonna keep them kind of within in the general direction, but make it a bit more organic looking. Like that. Okay, maybe her hair might be a little too messy. Let me bring it a bit closer. And also, I'm going to erase it a bit. Now that I have that done, I'm going to add the little highlight. And hopefully it's gonna look kind of like wet hair strands. It's not really, I guess it's not that necessary as a detail, but hey, we'll just keep it there. Alrighty, so now that we have that done, that's pretty much it for the character, except I'll probably do a bit more work on refining and such. But let me, I believe this was the reference. What's this? Nothing. Okay. Create a new layer, and what I'll do here is, actually maybe I should be doing it to the bottom, so I'm creating water lines, so I'll be filling part of the leg. So this is where the water is gonna more or less be at. Alright, so we got the water line. Let's go ahead and start adding in the skin tone again. And we're gonna do a little bit random scribbles. And basically, I'm kind of using a reference for this part, so get a bit of this skin tone going on here. But I'm gonna kind of do scribbly like texture for this part. And just gonna add some highlight. Let's go ahead and add some highlight around the water. Add a bit of shadow. I'm going to erase it slightly. Let me go ahead and paint out a bit more of the knee. Okay, what else should I do? Alright, so let's take a new layer, multiply, and I'm just going to make the leg have a bit of shadow. It's gonna try to make the leg essentially look a little bit wetter. Okay, I'm gonna be a bit messy for now and go back in with the erase tool and slightly erase. Kind of looks like blood a little bit. But let's do a bit more work around this area. Erase. I'm even going to adjust it, make it not as obvious, and I'll just darken that part. Let me use the lasso tool to help me do some more wet lines. Nope, let's keep it here. Keep it around near the bottom area. Just have it throughout the body a bit. Maybe that will help. And I'm going to, at the same time, erase parts of it. Let's do it. Oh, it's not looking too great, but let's go ahead, create a new layer. And then we'll start painting in some of the wet. Oh, hold on. Maybe I'll use this color. So I'm going to do the side highlight and leave the other side to be shadow. Let me go ahead, add a bit of highlight at the center here. And I'm gonna add some highlight. Kind of looks like blood, to be honest. I don't think I'm doing it properly. Airbrush dissolve. Let's go ahead and add some high contrast shine around here. And then erase. So I removed the shadow. I think it looks better without the shadow. Alright, now I'm going to add some more high intensity shine. Like that. So if we zoom out, it's gonna look a lot more glossy. So I'm just gonna keep it as it is, but yes, so this technique I will be applying it throughout the body. So yes, what else? I think that should be it. So yeah, the rest of the image will be basically rendered out using the same method as I've shown you guys just now. Just requires a bit more time. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I will see you guys in the next voiceover. Have a great day or night, guys. Bye bye.